Like the court, I was only provided with this motion this morning. However, I believe even under their case law, as well as case law from the Florida Supreme Court, specifically Valdez, which I did not bring copies of, unfortunately, found at 3 Southern 3rd, 1067, a Florida Supreme Court case from 2009.
3 Southern 3rd.
I'm sorry, 3 Southern 3rd, correct. 1067, Florida Supreme Court 2009, and Anderson at 697 Southern 2nd 309, the Florida Supreme Court case from 1997. These are not single acts. This is different core conduct. It is our position that there is a temporal break between each of the lies, and there are several, not just the ones charged, but that these lies occurred over the course of 3 separate statements. The fact that they all occurred on July 16th of 2008 should be of no consequence. The court, through the course of pretrial hearings as well as the trial, knows that Ms. Anthony gave statements at approximately 1 a.m., 4 a.m., and then 1 p.m. on July 16th of 2008. Each of the lies are material to the issues that were investigated by the Sheriff's Office as a result of the lies. Each were intended to mislead law enforcement and to send them, as Ms. Anthony herself at the end of the final statement indicated, on a wild goose chase. They are not degree variants of the same crime and are not a single criminal act. Most of the time when we're not dealing with multiple punishments for a single act, what we are dealing with are whether or not a single act can be broken up into episodes. We typically see this in sexual battery cases where there are multiple sex acts performed on a single victim at the same time. And then the issue is whether or not there is a break between the various types of penetrations in those cases sufficient to convict for separate acts. And indeed, the case law suggests that there is a sufficient break where an individual does have the time to pause and reflect, as the court has already inquired. Given the fact that there were multiple statements over the course of 12 hours, it is the position of the state of Florida that these separate acts, as separately alleged, do not violate double jeopardy.
That Valdez site was 3 Southern 3rd edition, what page?
1067, if I have that right.
1067.
1067. I do have a copy. This is a situation where an individual was charged with 2 different counts for 1 act of shooting. Would the court like my copy?
If it's just a second. I have.
All right, so you see the judge looking at some materials. Now, what you want to be looking for here, Lizbeth Fryer, the attorney for the defense, has filed what's called a double jeopardy motion. What she's trying to argue here is that you can't try someone for the same criminal act twice. So she's saying that these 4 counts of lying to police, they all came out of the same conversation. So, Judge, she says, it should all be treated as 1 act, not 4 separate acts, and therefore hand out 1 sentence. Remember, the maximum sentence for each act is only 1 year. If the judge agrees, Casey Anthony walks free today. The prosecution is arguing something different. They're saying that Casey Anthony not only made these statements during this one conversation with the lead detective, Yuri Melich, but she made them at other times. And because of these statements, they took a bunch of different actions. And therefore, their argument is that they should all be separate acts, and they should all run as consecutive sentences, one after another, after another, after another, which means 4 years in prison. We're taking a look right now at George and Cindy Anthony in that gallery, Casey Anthony as well. And Casey Anthony, her mood has changed in the last 15 minutes. 15, 20 minutes ago, when this hearing started, she was relaxed, calm, playing with her hair a bit, talking to her lawyers. Once the judge started talking about her actions, because this is all about Casey Anthony and the lies that she told. Once he started talking about her actions, her manner changed. She became stone-faced, as we've seen her through most of this trial. And you see George and Cindy Anthony right there having a similar stone-faced reaction, just simply taking it all in as the hearing goes forward. So as you look at Casey Anthony, and she's looking back and forth with her lawyers right now, just waiting to see what her fate will be, if the judge does decide that the sentence will be served one after another and finds the maximum sentence for each one of these, she's looking at up to 4 years in prison. She's already served around 2.5 years, so that could end up being 1, maybe 2 years. But that's the key there. That's what we're looking out for. I want to bring in HLN law enforcement analyst Mike Brooks. Hey, Mike Brooks, the judge here seems to be asking some tough questions that could land Casey Anthony in jail rather than walking free.
Absolutely. And the thing is, did law enforcement have to take a different action on each one of these counts? That she told them she worked at Universal Studios. They had to investigate that separately. That there was this Zanny the Nanny, Zenaida Gonzalez. They had to investigate that separately. That she mentioned Jeffrey Hopkins and Juliette Lewis. They had to go run those leads down. And it's not just Orange County Sheriff's Office and that was involved in this. You had the FBI and everyone else running these leads down, Ryan. So, you know, but the defense says, well, did she have time to stop, reflect, and pause? Or was it just one continuous lie? You know, it's going to be hard to say what was going on inside her head, because she was able so quickly to change course on a regular basis, Ryan, with these lies, making up these stories.
All right. All right, let's take you back into the courtroom.
Say prior to the court imposing sentence.
No, sir.
Does your client wish to say anything prior to the court imposing sentence?
No, Your Honor.
The court will make the following finding concerning the defense motion to bar imposition of sentence on these 4 distinct counts as violating double jeopardy. Count 4 of the indictment alleging providing false information to a law enforcement officer basically dealt with the following conduct. It is alleged that the defendant was employed at Universal Studios during the year 2008. This information was given pursuant to an investigation for a missing persons report. That information caused law enforcement, in following up on that statement, to go to Universal Studios to expend law enforcement resources to determine that, in fact, Ms. Anthony did not, in fact, work at Universal Studios. Count 5, Ms. Anthony informed the authorities that she had left her child, Kelly Marie Anthony, at the Sawgrass Apartments with a babysitter, which caused law enforcement, again, as a result of a missing persons report, to develop and follow various leads trying to locate this babysitter, commonly known as Zanny. Count 6, again, dealt with the fact that she had informed two, quote, employees of Universal Studios, Jeff Hopkins and Juliette Lewis, of the disappearance of Kelly Marie Anthony. Ms. Anthony in count 7 indicated to law enforcement that she had received a call and spoke to Kelly Marie Anthony on July 15, 2008 at approximately 12 p.m., thus causing law enforcement to devote extensive resources. As a result of those 4 separate and distinct lies, law enforcement expended a great deal of time, energy, and manpower looking for young Kelly Marie Anthony. This search for her went on from July through December, over several months, trying to find Kelly Marie Anthony. 4 distinct, separate lies. Just as the jury spoke loud and clear on counts 1, 2, and 3 by their verdict, they also spoke loud and clear as to the remaining counts 4, 5, 6, and 7. There being no legal cause shown why this court should not impose sentence, and the court having previously adjudged you to be guilty of the crimes contained in counts 4, 5, 6, and 7, I will sentence you to 1 year in the Orange County Jail, imposing a $1,000 fine on each count, all 4 counts to run consecutive to each other, giving you credit for the time that you have previously served. Mr. Baez, Mr. Mason, we're going to spend some time